Hey, um, I noticed that you're having a hard time falling asleep. Is everything all right? Oh, you're struggling with insomnia. I'm so sorry. As someone who also struggles with it, I know exactly how you're feeling right now. I had an idea if you're open to it. Yeah? Okay, cool. So, the idea that I had was I actually have a collected book of stories from Edgar Allan Poe. Do you want me to show it to you? Okay, let me grab it. Okay, so this is the book that I have. It is the entire collected works of all of his stories, poems. It's it's fairly large. So I was thinking I could read you one of his classics, and I can also make you nice and comfy. Maybe even some tea might help. What kind of tea? Oh, you know what? That's always a really good question. Okay, let me get you the tea. Well, show you the tea. All right. So, I'm sure you've seen this brand before, like at the store. I'm not 100% how do you pronounce it. I've heard some people say Tazo, but as someone who grew up speaking Spanish, I assume it's actually tazo, which is Spanish for cup. So I'm going to call it tazo. So this is the tea that I have, and it is called Dream Tea. And let me go ahead and describe it to you. With our soothing blend of superstar valerian root, calming chamomile, aromatic lavender, almond, and sweet hints of vanilla flavor, dreamland awaits. Let's go, you beautiful dreamer, you. Kinda cheesy, I know. But if that does sound like it interests you, or if it sounds good, I can make you some. What do you think? Yeah? All right. Sounds good then. So let me go ahead and grab some. All right. So let me get you a cup. I think that will help. Here's your cup. Well, technically my cold drink cup, but I'll let you borrow it. All right. And we'll go ahead and let this seep for a couple minutes since it's an herbal tea. So you don't want to let it sit for too long because we don't want it to be too strong. Unless you prefer your tea to be strong. No? No, I didn't think so. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let that set for a few minutes. And while that steeps, I will get you comfy. All right, so I have this blanket that I think you'll like. It's really soft. It is kind of like a plush material, and it's like one of those like throw blankets. I don't know if you've seen it before. It's from Costco. Actually, I don't even know if they sell it anymore. They used to for a long time, but I don't know if they still do. But you can always take a look if you want one for yourself. But I am going to go ahead and put this over you. Nice and warm, but not too warm because I know that it is summertime. So we want a nice comfy blankie without it being too hot. Let me go ahead and put this on you. All right, comfy? I need to resituate. Me too. Okay. Okay. I think now that we're both comfy, we should be good. Okay. So, next thing that I want to do to get you nice and comfortable, I don't usually give these out, but this is more of a loan. So, I am going to let you borrow one of my dragons, specifically the Jellycat Sky Dragon. Now, she does have her own name because I like to give my dragons their own names. So, I like to name mine after flowers. This one, her name is Delphi for short. Her full name is Delphinium, you've ever seen those flowers, they're very beautiful, and usually they come in blue. But delphinium is a pretty long name, so I I just call her Delphi for short. But I'm gonna go ahead and let you borrow her. That way she can help you get nice and cozy and help you fall asleep. This is one of 4 dragons that I have, and they are super cuddly and soft. They help me fall asleep. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you borrow her. So here is Delphi. All right. And cozy with Delphi? Perfect. Okay. Let's go ahead and check on your tea before we get started reading, because we want to make sure we got some of that tea in us before we start to listen to some stories. Let me go ahead and grab your tea. I think it's just about done. You mentioned you don't like it too strong, so I will go ahead and take out the tea bag. Most people don't know this, but it's actually better to only let your tea steep for about 3 to 5 minutes. If you want it really strong, you can probably let it sit for about 10, but it's best to not leave your tea bag in there because then it gets really bitter. I know. That's something that I learned a while back. So, yeah, it's actually better to take your tea bag out. But on that note, here is your tea all ready for you. This is my version of a sleepy time tea, just a different brand. So here you are. Okay, got it? It's not too hot? Okay. Just want to make sure. Some people like their tea kind of warm, some like it very warm, some like it boiling hot. I'm one of those people, but I know not everyone is, so I just want to make sure that it's comfortable. All right. So, you have your blanket, you have your tea, and you have little Miss Delphi. Are you ready to listen to a story? Okay. So, as I mentioned, we are going to be reading Edgar Allan Poe. If you haven't heard of him before, he was a very famous writer. A lot of other people also refer to him as a famous poet. I would say both, but primarily writer, as you can see. He wrote quite a bit of things in his lifetime. So, I am actually going to be reading you one of his classics. You may have heard of it before. If not, that's perfectly okay. That's why we're going to be reading it today. But it is called The Raven, and it is actually one of his poems. So, not one of his longer stories, but one of his poems. But it's not super short, and it's definitely not super long. So, I think it's just right. Ready to get started? Okay, perfect. So let me go ahead and pull out the little bookmark that I have here. So give me one quick second. All right. So, you ready? We're going to be reading The Raven. Okay, here we go. Once upon a midnight jury, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as some one gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this, and nothing more. Ah, distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore. For the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled with fantastic terrors never felt before. So that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor, entreating entrance at my chamber door. Some late visitor, entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more." Presently, my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore, but the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping, tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I open wide the door, darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the darkness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore?" This I whispered, and an echo murmured back at the door, "Lenore." Merely this, and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning. Soon again I heard a tapping, somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see, then, what thereat is, and this mystery explore." Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind and nothing more. Open here I flung the shutter, when, with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, perched and sat, nothing more. Then this ebony bird, beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou, I said, art sure no craven, ghastly grim, an ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. All right, I'm going to stop there for a second. How are you feeling? Good? Relaxed? Perfect. All right. We do have a few more pages. It's not that long. Would you like to continue? Yeah? Okay. Sounds good. All right, here we go. Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear disclosure so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevance bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door. Bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door. With such name as nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on the placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing farther than he uttered, not a feather then he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, nevermore. Startled at the stillness, broken by reply so aptly spoken, doubtless, said I, what it utters is its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master, whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore, of never, nevermore. But the raven, still beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird, and bust and door. Then, upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy onto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining, that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining, with the lamplight gloating o'er, she shall press, ah, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, that God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite, respite, and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind of nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent, or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate, yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aidenn it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked, upstarting. Get thee back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that light soul has spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him screaming throws his shadow on the floor, and my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. All right, that's the end. What'd you think? It was good? Yeah, it's one of my favorites. How are you feeling though? sleepy? That's good. I'm glad to hear that you're sleepy. The power of Edgar Allan Poe. So, with that being said, I will let you get to bed, but let me make sure you're comfy just one more time before I do so. Alright, I'm going to readjust everything. Let me tuck you in one last time. Okay. Tuck, tuck, tuck. And then, of course, here is Delphi back for you to borrow. There you go. Oh, and you're all finished with your tea? Perfect. I will take the cup for you. Oh, yeah, you did finish it all. Good. Perfect. I'm sure it really helped. All right. Before I leave you, do you need anything? No? You're all good? Okay. Just wanted to double check. Well, on that note, glad I was able to help you fall asleep. Dream sweetly, and good night. Bye.